So, good afternoon, everyone. It is your boy Revolution, Street Boss X-Boy Project, and right now we're with the big homie, Big Boss Torch, and it's a special episode because it's the first face-to-face episode that we're shooting.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year indeed.
Got 2 cameras right here.
So before we get to it, also do make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. And I guess with that, let's get to it. So, Big, tell us more about yourself. Introduce yourself to the viewers.
What's up? What's up, everyone? Big Boss, Torch, Bully Syndicate, Big Homie, member of Gunsquad, SMG 40 Clipz fam, and OG fam, OG tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm also I'm also young 40 Clipz and OGX representing the 6. Yeah, and I'm also I'm a fitness and nutrition coach, and right now I'm also doing social media management for my family business.
Yeah, so honestly, like, you have a lot going on for yourself, and how is that all going with, managing the social media account, with the business that you and your family are running, and then also with keeping your Krump in check?
Oh yeah, so I think this year is gonna be an interesting year because last year was a lot of testing stuff out, seeing to find the balance of everything.
Yep.
And slowly getting my drive to dance back, because we were so busy creating programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because our business is a lot of life coaching and business coaching, so we develop leadership training seminars and online classes. So our schedules back last year were more, I want to say more active, because we were transitioning from online to live.
Mm-hmm.
And now, since we're focusing more on the live training seminars, we plotted the schedules in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So I can easily figure out, like, okay, if I want to dance, if I want to work out, like, it's that work-life balance. Yeah, so I can pre-plan it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this year I really want to get back into, battling, going to sessions, because, Krump is love, man. Like, I miss the energy, I miss the community, and I've had this craving to, go back.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, especially last year, because last year we noticed a lot of things starting to lighten up, especially when it comes to, like, restrictions, right? Like protocols, i.e. COVID stuff. So now that personally I'm feeling more comfortable going to events and leaving the house.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but it took a while for me to feel safe to leave the house, right?
Yeah.
Because we've been so cooped up for, like, what, two years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And also last year I was able to bring you to Armory session.
Yeah. So that plus that one time we had a fam session with Little Bauss, it felt so good.
Yeah, that was at KDS.
Yeah.
Kidnap Dance Studio.
Shout out to Sister Bauss.
Yes, Sister Bauss.
Yeah. So, this year, it's all about implementation for me this year, because I have to balance the family business, my own personal fitness and nutrition business, and also, working out for myself with the diet, plus wanting to satisfy my craving to dance, right? So finding that structure, creating that structure so I can, have that balance, like passion, work, personal health, and that's very important, because that's also what we teach in our coaching business, right?
Yeah.
It's all about balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if one of the things in your life wheel is not moving or stale, it's most likely going to affect all other areas of your life. You know, so you have to find that structure, that balance, to be able to, you know, have everything and anything that you want, you know, and be responsible, you know.
True.
You know, especially if you want to get to that next level of, you know, what your goal is, and then what your goal is for personal, business, and, you know, health, right? And we don't want to be, I don't want to be stressed about like, oh, focusing too much on this, can't do this, oh shit, I'm gonna feel bad, right? But if I'm like, okay, if I do this at this time, and then I can pre-plan when I go to events in advance, like, okay, that's gonna work out, because I work my schedule around how I can get to that date without being stressed. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so I guess with all that, what would you say are like some quick tips that you would give to the people who are watching on how to keep that balance throughout your journey? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of us in the community are also having our own battles, like not just street battles or tournament battles, but also our battles in life. Like, even personally, and I won't lie about this, and I've also told you about this personally a lot, but I've also been going through a lot that phase of, let's say, August to December. And for me, it's also personal stuff, but it was also about, for me, figuring out that balance. So I would ask, what are things that you would say to people like me, or people in the same level or page as me, on how to keep a more balanced journey or life?
That is a great question. And it really depends on what your goals are. Like, I'm gonna speak in a generalization, so like, you know, it can cater to anyone, because if I want to be specific to certain people, I can't speak for them, because everyone's going through something in their life that maybe you won't be able to do the same things as another individual, right?
True.
So the easiest tip is probably have your schedule. Make sure you have your schedules ready in advance. Set up a timeline on certain goals, and then work your way backwards. You know, if it's work, let's talk about first like work and passion, right? Because sometimes those things don't align, right? Especially with work schedules and events or whatever. Like, I'm speaking on my experiences, right? So
yes.
If you need to sacrifice something, make sure that, you know, you understand what is the most important thing in your life right now. Because if it's passion, then you can choose that. But, you know, don't never forget that even if like you're passionate about something, you also need to support yourself.
True.
You know what I mean? So there will come a time where you need to choose one, especially if it's like, for example, a work event is on the same day as a dance event. So I'm going to talk to the dancers first, right? Sometimes you have to choose, you know. But if the pros and cons, like, if you do choose dance, it has to be at like at a stage where it's like, okay, if I don't go to this event, like, I'm still covered, like, I'm still good, you know. But if it's like a major work event, obviously you can't really,
Of course.
yeah, because still you gotta pay your bills, right? So it has to come from a place of the least resistance, you know, like you feel good in your body to choose either or. Because if you can choose both, you can do that as well. Like, what if your work stuff is in the morning, dance stuff is at night? Like, if it's a dance time, like late, you know, it's still work, but you know, and it has to be safe for you energetically. You know what I mean? It has to come from a place like, okay, I'm not gonna be super burnt out the next day. You know. So yeah, like and of course, in terms of health, it's different for everyone too, right? Like if it's your health goals, that it can be challenging at times if you're just starting out.
True.
You know, if you're coming from a space like you weren't always like the athlete, or you weren't always active, and then you're transitioning to take better care of your health, it's going to be a slow process, but it's, as long as you have the right support system to do that, you'll be safe to, you know, incorporate that in your life so that you have that balance wheel. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. As like safety is when I talk about safety, it's both mental and physical. You know what I mean? Because if you're not incorporating the importance of mental health and physical health, it may backfire if like you're pushing yourself too hard. You know what I mean? So it's more of working smarter than harder. You know what I mean? And finding that balance of both. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think along, like adding to that thing where you mentioned about mental health, I think that's why it's also important. Like, it's a simple thing, but in Krump fams, like, it's also something that we do in JEX, but we have our weekly check-ins, like even as simple as you just message in the group chat and see how's everyone doing, what's everyone up to. Like, what would you say about those stuff?
Okay, when it comes to mental health, I don't think it's simple. It's very complex because you also have to look at, if you're trained, you also have to look at their, like how they grew up, their conditioning, their trauma, everything, right? So mental health is not, it's different for everyone because it's something you can't see. You know what I mean? It's something that you have to talk through with a trained professional or whoever is in your support system. So I think the challenge with mental health and people talking about it is some people don't talk about it. You know? So, like, if you have friends and family that are willing to talk about it, or are open enough to talk about it, sit in that conversation, because they need to know that they're safe, they're held, they're supported. I think the challenge of talking about stuff like this is mainly around the masculine side of things, because a lot of us it's more of a stigma that, you know, we keep our feelings to ourselves, but sometimes that can backfire, right? You don't want it to build up, you need to express it.
True.
Even dancers who are, you know, expression is our thing, communicating verbally is a different story. Yeah, so with that, it's like I said, unless you're a trained professional, it's baby steps, especially if you're trying to support someone and you don't have the training for it. It's better to leave that up to the professionals. But if you can offer, you know, a moment with someone to talk about things, let them express things, you know, definitely do that. Yeah. So checking in is important. Make sure everyone's good. Like, personally, I don't, like, in our fam, we check in sometimes.
Yeah, we do.
You know, I think it's mainly because, like, we know our boys, right? We know, like, if there's a problem, they would reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I feel safe. Like I feel safe, they feel safe to reach out. You know, if they're going through stuff, because if they need to release it, they will.
Yeah.
And I think that puts our minds at ease a little bit with our fam, because some people won't even talk about it, right?
True.
Yeah. So yeah, like checking in is important. Check on your fam.
Check on your fam.
Check on your fam. Check on your boys and your homegirls. You know, you never know.
True.
Take two. Technical difficulties, everyone.
Yeah. So, anyways, going back. So lately in the game, you've been very active and inactive. Like, especially after that phase where, when Coach Phil, Big Adrian, moved to Saudi, and you and Henry took over, and you were there to also help us represent at some of the events. And I still remember for some of them you were also...
I joined.
Yeah. Or not even, just you also judged for some of them.
Yeah.
And also, besides that, like, behind the scenes, you've also been able to help us in some of the events we were training for. Like, for example, the first straight book, when you also came over to one of our trainings.
Yeah.
And you were also there at the event itself as well, I remember very well.
And I still help out the little homies when I can, you know?
Yeah. So, how are you able to keep that balance between work and being active in the scene?
I guess it's also like, because I've had so many cycles of going active and inactive, I've learned how to shake off the rust, so to say. Like, I know what I need to do in terms into, like, so I can get back on top of my game if I need to prep for something. When it comes to work and life, work and, you know, dance, it's like, I dance in between my sets when I work out. Or sometimes, like when I'm doing dishes or when I'm cooking, I'm listening to music, I have moves in my head. It's always constantly turning, you know? Always mentally labbing, sometimes actually moving. Sometimes I like, even when there's no music, I just move my body and just like try to stretch it out, have like the feels. Because what I learned over the years of being, over the years of labbing and training, like as soon as I get, like for example, one round, and I analyze my round, I'm like, okay, I know what I need to work on. Like, is my arm placements in check? Am I fully extending out? Is my core active? Am I moving my legs? You know, like, I think because when I first started doing this, it was, I locked myself in, train. Footage, review. So I got the feel of like, okay, if I'm moving this way, this is how I look.
Yes, I remember you did a lot of that over the pandemic.
Yes,
like, it's even there on your YouTube channel.
I think my peak krump, like I don't want to say peak krump because I can still get to my peak, but like because I was slowly being active again pre-pandemic, right? I was slowly being active again. And then when pandemic hit, nothing else to do, so I was labbing, coming up with new tutorials specifically for the fam, right? And really dissecting everything, labbing and doing. I felt like it was like when I first started, it feels like when I first started Krump again.
Yeah.
Like locked in, labbing, posting rounds, creating tutorials to help my little homies.
Yeah, and along with that, you were also making us do all the fam brawls.
Yeah, all the brawls, like Zoom meetings and everything. I think I was like, pandemic, I got active again. And then when we moved and then, you know, work started coming in, it was like, okay, gotta pause a little bit because like the pandemic wise, like our savings went out, you know, pretty quick. So, you know, had to start saving again. So inactive. Even with my fitness training. I was inactive for a little bit because because when we moved, I was like trying to feel the vibe of the house. Like, okay, where can I train? Finding my spot, you know. So yeah, like doing the inactive and like with the cycles of being active and inactive, like just need to know, like, okay, what do I need to work on? And I think footage is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Because from there you can have like your base, like, okay, what do I need to lab on?
Mm-hmm.
And then be really analytical, because no one knows yourself better than you do, right? So you really have to study your footage now and your footage back then, and then you're like, okay, when I'm doing this round, like in the present, like, okay, when I'm doing this round, I felt this, but it didn't look like that. So just gotta extend out a bit more, you know. Like for me, range of motion is very important. So because I like my arm swings, I like my arm stuff. Of
course.
I like getting off. I just like getting off. So I just want to make sure like everything's safe. Like I know where I'm going. I'm not gonna jam anything. I'm not gonna hurt myself. And to make sure like I can fully express like my energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with range of motion for me. Like if it's fully out there, if I'm fully extended, if it's a power jab or whatever, I just gotta make sure like that is translated on the footage so I can see it. Because if I feel it and it doesn't look that way, other people might not receive that energy I'm trying to put out, because it's not fully being expressed. So that's number one. Study your footage of where you are now, not where you were before, because now it will tell you like, okay, this is what I gotta work on. And then if you're preparing for an event, your timeline is the event, work backwards. Like, okay, this week I should do this, focus on this, following week. It's programming. It's all about programming. And I think I incorporated my fitness knowledge as a personal trainer to, you know, if I need to program something, I know how to set it up with a specific timeline if needed. But if I'm just dancing just to be active again, like just to satisfy my creativity, no real programming, just record a few rounds and like, okay, adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
Like I think it's different for everything. Like if you're preparing for a tournament, the way you're gonna lab is different from when you have like setup battle. Because yes, they're both performances, but in a tournament battle, they have like the scoring stuff, right? So you have to make sure it's a very balanced approach.
Yeah.
Because with setup battles, you have more freedom to express.
Yeah.
Well, in dance now, you have the freedom to express, but you know, you also have to understand like what are the judges looking for. You know. Yeah. So that's my thing when it comes to being inactive and active. Like, know what you need to do. Know where you are, and then work from there.
I see.
Because if I'm gonna put a timeline on it, if I need to get in shape for a tournament or battle or a setup, probably a month. But it's like a month of like hard training, you know, hard labbing, really focusing on like everything. Like 1 month locked in. Yeah. But if I have more freedom, if it's further down the line, like 3 months to get back into shape. But yeah, that's if I need a timeline, you know. But other than that, just make sure that you're always satisfying your creativity, like always expressing when you need to, like, you know, just move, you know.
Yeah. And then along with that, with being active and inactive, you also very recently passed on the title of captain to Yuri Shifu.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us more about that?
Because I was approached by Henry, because he said they were planning to rebuild the armory for this year.
Yes.
And then he was asking if it's okay for me to pass on the title to Yuri, which I feel like it's okay, because like, one, I'm not active.
Yeah.
2, they've been holding it down, once things started to open up, right? And I feel like it was about time for the next generation to take Armory to new heights. It was just time, I guess, because it doesn't make sense to still hold the title for no reason if I'm not active, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of like the OGs of Armory are really like doing their own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it will still live on even after we left, even though we didn't really leave, we're just inactive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I feel like because they're consistent right now, like they're consistent and they're active in the community, they know how to bring it to the next level, which it's great because Armory started off just as a session.
True.
Now it's a fam.
Yes. Well, with all of that, will we still be seeing Big Boss Torch come back to the Krump scene?
Yes.
This 2023.
Yes. Hell yeah.
And
Hell yeah. It's going to be mostly sessions, events. If someone wants to set me up with someone game, I just need to schedule in advance so I can put it in my calendar, because that's where that's where life is right now. You got to calendar edit everything, or else you'll forget.
That's true.
Just so you lock it in. So yeah, I'm open to set up battles, visiting sessions, joining events, as long as it doesn't clash with work stuff. I want to be there.
Definitely.
Yeah. So 2023, work, life, passion, balance. You know what I mean?
Amen. And I guess with that, do you have any final messages for our viewers?
Okay, so make sure that with anything that you do, like you do it with your whole heart. You know what I mean? Like energetically, like this is a full body, like yeah, this is what I want to do, go for it. If you set a goal, go for it. Just make sure that, because life is all about balance, right? So have a goal for each part of your life and make sure you pursue it without, any regrets. Because you only have one life. Like, why fill it with regrets, right? Enjoy life, man, because I believe that life should be like a cartoon. Like, it should be full of color, not black and white.
Amen.
Because if you live life in black and white, it's so boring. Why make life boring? Make it exciting, make it fun. Like, I see it as a sitcom because I love comedy. Like, why not be a character in your own life? Like, not just in Krump, and like bring it to your life as well. Like, it doesn't mean you have to be like a crazy dark side person, like in life, but like just what I learned about dance is like I can bring what I learned into my own life in terms of discipline, commitment, and consistency. And that's really what's important in life. Is like, if you have a goal, you have to have that discipline to keep going even on days like you feel like crap.
Yeah.
And you have to be consistent in order to, consistency will bring you to that goal faster. And then you have to have that commitment of like your full body commitment, like this is what I really want to do with my life in terms of like specific goals that you're after. With those three things, you can conquer the world.
Amen. Yeah.
FIRELORD.
And that has been this episode for the Bucking Through Live podcast, brought to you by your boy Revolution, Street Boss X the Fire Prince, and Big Boss Torch the FIRELORD. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on the next coming episodes. And also, Big, as a token of appreciation, I would like for you to take home this sculpture of our fam sign that I made 2 years ago. And
Office.
yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Always remember, stay safe, stay amazing, God bless, and always keep it booking through life.
All glory to the Fire Nation.
See you.
Yeah. Content creation, guys. This is what's up. Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Stable. Oh. Stable. Okay.
Bloopers.
Bloopers. Pause. Alright.
So this is our main camera right here.
Main camera here.
And then right here, this is our secondary camera.
Dope.
Yeah. So if you want to talk to people,
Anywhere, right?
primary
There?
and secondary.
Secondary.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back and forth.
Yeah. Or mostly this one.
Yeah, sure.
Mostly this one. Alright.
This is
So-
cool.
Let's get it.
Yeah. I don't have any quotes, just, you know. No, spaced out.